Hi everyone, I'm Lizard. I love dice and RPGs. I haven't been playing TTRPGs for decades like a lot of great GMs, but I've been at it for a few years. I've actually GM'd a lot more than I play. I've never found the right group for myself, but I love to make that environment that I'm looking for my players. I love to see them role playing, fighting, and enjoying the worlds I run. I'm finishing up a Paizo Adventure Path for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I've gained a lot of experience in running games. I felt more freedom to homebrew and modify parts of the story and write my own independent one-shots. I'm also just starting to work on my first full campaign to run after this adventure path is over. I found no greater joy than to write something, throw the PCs into the mix, and just watch chaos ensue. No matter how many times I run something, there's always a new perspective that the players bring and solutions they come up with. No game is the same, and that's the fun of it for me. I plan to post a one-shot once a month, possibly in between show some of the different creatures and monsters PF2 has to offer. I love just flipping through the bestiaries and monster core to see what I can throw at my players, like a skeleton T-Rex. With these one-shots, I give you full permission to take inspiration from or straight up steal it. These videos will be fairly vague so you can fill in the details and customize it to your party. That brings us to today. I wrote this one-shot as a side quest in my running campaign. It's pretty simple, but I was surprised at the great reception it got from my players. See, my players needed a way to cure an undead. The AP said the only way to do that would be to kill and resurrect this creature. But there was the problem. None of the PCs could cast Resurrect. In PF2, it's a ritual which cannot be put on a scroll for easy casting, so they really had no way to do it. I had a solution, though. I was going to break the game temporarily. Let's go into the quest. They wandered through the town to a promising shop owned by a spellcaster. They intended to inquire about resurrection, possibly hire somebody to come with them, which they were very hesitant to do because this area was extremely dangerous and they didn't want to put someone else in harm's way to save another person. However, they quickly found the shopkeeper to be the most anxious, paranoid man they ever met. He was, above all things, afraid of dying. One thing led to another, and he had a very convenient proposition for them. An experimental spellcaster he was good friends with a couple days' trip away had done him a favor. She had been experimenting with putting the power of rituals into a scroll, essentially casting to the scroll, then suspending the results in the parchment. He asked her to try this with Resurrect so that in the event of his untimely demise, his assistant could easily and quickly cast it before he could be sucked into the afterlife. His friend's efforts had been a resounding failure until it worked. Over the course of weeks or months of constant effort, she managed to only make 2 of these scrolls. She could not identify what caused the early success and had been unable to replicate the results with Resurrect or any other ritual since. The paranoid spellcaster is desperate for these scrolls, but there's no way he's going to venture out to get himself. That's just asking for trouble. So he had to resort to hiring heroes to get them for him. As much as it pained him, he offered one of these scrolls to the party as payment for the delivery, since that's what they were after. If you're running this for a party that does not need a scroll of Resurrect, you can just change it so there's one scroll. This is vital later, and offer them a different reward. The party goes on their way. The woods they go through are well known to be plagued by bandits. They will not be attacked, but feel free to make the party as nervous as you like, wrestling in the bushes, a dead horse along the way, whatever cliche you feel like, but they do make it to their destination safely. The experimental spellcaster is very eccentric. She loves talking about her plans and theories. This was fun with my party, as one of my PCs enjoyed chatting with her. Some may be put off by her disregard for safety measures, however. They did get the scrolls easily thanks to a signed letter from the paranoid spellcaster, and they go on their way. Ideally, the trip back would be as quiet as the trip there, but this is not an ideal world. A girl stumbles out of the woods onto the path, bloodied and exhausted. She sees the party and begins begging for help. She and her brother were attacked by a huge bird. She is distraught as she says she thinks it's eating him alive. Ideally, the party will rush to his aid and find a bloody trail to a dip in the ground that leads to a cave-like nest. The creature I used for this party is called a Cowthooge. It's a large predatory bird that eats primarily humanoids, and this one was most pleased to find these two young humans wandering through the woods alone. The party fights the bird and discovers the boy is dead. The girl is distraught. My intention was for the party to have a dilemma of using the scroll to save the boy, save the man they intend to cure, or feign losing both scrolls to the man that hired them and save both targets. If you're playing with one scroll, they risk losing their reward either way. Now, my party made the obvious choice that I had not thought of to just go back to the experimental spellcaster and bring her to cast the ritual. You could avoid this by setting her up to be leaving on a trip, by making the journey much longer and much more difficult to go back. I had not set either of these up though, and I liked my players' quick thinking, so they saved the boy and got to keep their scroll and deliver the other one. Even though the story didn't have the intended effect of a moral dilemma, the players still had a lot of fun rescuing the kids and accomplishing their goal. And fun is what really matters, so I was happy too. After that, they discover the kids are bandits, part of the group that is known to frequent this part of the forest. The boy convinced his sister to go on an adventure with him, as he wants nothing more than to leave robbing behind and become a swashbuckling adventurer. You can make his reaction to dying whatever you like, but I decided that this cemented that adventuring can be scary, but he will be okay no matter what, which is wrong. His sister, however, is now obsessed with her and her brother's mortality and is on her way to becoming like this paranoid spellcaster. After deciding what to do or not to do with the young adventurers, the party goes back to town to collect their reward or face consequences of their choices. That's the end of the story. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it and find some inspiration in it. I would love to hear your thoughts if you enjoyed this, what you'd like to see more of, or maybe what type of story you'd like to see. Until next time, farewell.